So, on observation, I think that the CSA T20 challenge is the perfect test for our T20 cricketers. And I'm going to explain why on the show today. This is obviously coming after I've been watching quite a bit of the CSA T20 challenge, majority of the games. And there's some observations that I've made this early in the tournament that I think is going to obviously be tested even more as the tournament goes along. So, we're going to discuss this on the show. I'm going to reveal what that is exactly and what I'm going to be speaking about on today's show and why it is the perfect test for South African cricketers. But before we get going, before we get started, please get involved with the subscribe button. Click that subscribe button, click that notification bell for all future videos as well. Don't forget to also download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And we are working on the World Cup edition as we speak. Then you can also help us promote and grow South African cricket by becoming a patron today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. Smash the like button too, please, and comment and share, please. Very important that you do so too. If you want to regular updates, features, player moments, and opinions, etc., then go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. So, without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to discussing this point or this points with you and why I think that this T20 challenge is perfect test for South African cricketers. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. And in today's show, I'm going to be talking about something very specific. The CSA T20 challenge is in full swing at the moment. We've seen a couple of games now. We've gotten to see the conditions that are going to be on display, and we had the perfect opportunity to obviously see some youngsters also perform. The latest match was between the Titans and the Lions, where the Titans completely dominated the Lions. It started off with an exceptional opening partnership between Jivishan Pillay and Deval Brevis. What I liked a lot about this is that Deval Brevis, if he had 30 of 17 balls, 34s and two sixes at the strike rate of 176. But what made that inning special is the partnership with Jefferson Pillay. He noticed early that Jefferson was finding the boundary quite easily and was in the swing of things. And he managed to rotate the strike quite well and give the strike to someone like Jefferson, who was batting really well. So Pillay needs to get a lot of credit, but also Brevis in that partnership and the way they built it because it set up the rest of the innings. That opening partnership of 75 runs really set the tone for the rest of the innings. Quick 20s for the rest of the match and quick 13, 18, 22, 23s. Those runs were exceptional and very important to the overall total of 190 for six. So this just shows you when you get a good start in the power play and when you really perform well in the power play and can do it quickly, the rest of your batters just need to come out and play with freedom. There's not as much pressure on them to get milestones. They can actually literally go out there and play with freedom. And I think that's so important to see. But why I think this particular T20 challenge is so important and why it's going to be the perfect test for T20 cricket is because of the conditions. The conditions have been different to what is expected at Potch. So it has been very gloomy overhead. But on top of that, the pitch has also not necessarily been very grass heavy or very bouncy necessarily consistently. The rain and the wet conditions has played its part with regards to the conditions at this ground. And what it's doing is it's forcing our players to play a different brand of cricket and to be adaptable. I do think as this tournament goes along, that the pitch is going to dry out, that it's not going to always be conducive to spin as the more sun bakes on the pitch, and because I haven't really had much sunlight in the last couple of days. So as the pitch gets a lot better for with regards to the grass on it, maybe a little bit harder, maybe a little easier to bat on, then other skills are going to be tested when it comes to this T20 game. So I like that that's what's happening at the moment. I don't think it was intentional. Obviously, the weather you can't predict, but it's turning out to be quite a good test for a lot of our batters, particularly the youngsters that haven't necessarily found a lot of swing or turn. Now, when you look at the likes of Simon Harmer and Deva Brevis and the amount of turn, even Aaron Pangiso, who doesn't normally get a lot of turn, they were spinning the ball tremendously from off stump, from middle out, from leg out, from off stump out. So they were doing quite a phenomenal job with the ball. Brevis's leggies was something that we need to look at as an extra bonus as to why he needs to get into the South African setup pretty soon. And particularly in T20 cricket, I'm talking about. It's a perfect opportunity for South Africa to blood in a youngster after this World Cup. And I think Deva Brevis is the perfect person to maybe bring into the setup. Now, Devas has also been opening the batting and been showing a lot of calmness and temperament and guts to be able to go there and open the batting. And I've been very impressed with his approach, particularly in today's game as well. I like that the fact that he was looking for singles, but he was clearing the boundary tremendously. The way he was smacking that ball around was phenomenal. So it was really good to see that. Other than that, in this particular match, uh, you have to maybe just say well done to Ayakan Kamani for the way that he's performed field in the field and with the ball in this particular match. I think the fielding from the Titans has been top notch. Bar that drop catch from Dayan Khalim, they've been almost excellent. They've been practically excellent and perfect in this particular series. So it is something that we can look at when you look at these type of things. It's interesting to see that we have a nice balanced Titans team with a lot on the bench as well, and a lot more talent coming through. The Lions struggled. I mean, even though Ryan Rickleton got run out, the intent was there to take a quick single, and I like that. At least there was an intent to rotate the strike. So that was interesting. But as I said, what I'm most excited about is that we're going to be getting different conditions in Poch. That is going to be testing our players differently in every single match, which I'm liking, and particularly the youngsters are going to learn how to play that swinging delivery, etc. So I'm looking forward to that. The Dolphins are obviously currently playing against Northwest as we speak, uh, and we'll obviously talk about this tomorrow when we discuss the rest of the matches that are on display. So let me get into the live chat and see what you guys have to say. Alomazai says Devard really rocked with the ball today, looked very good with the bat as well before lapse of concentration. Pillay played some beautiful shots, was very good to see. It's good to see that there's another opening batter that is showing um, great promise, because we can obviously see that that's the issue in the national team. Deva Brevis is gem cricketer, so got he is really talented cricketer and destructive batter and very handy leg spinner, and we know that. But it's also about being very patient with his introduction and allowing him this chance to really go out there and experience what it's like to be in domestic cricket, and go out there and really put on a proper show. Because if Deva has a great T20 challenge, I don't see how South Africa can ignore him anymore. So these type of events are brilliant for someone like him to really get some excellent experience under the belt. And this season hasn't been very difficult, very easy conditions to bat in, particularly the new ball. So that's why I've been so impressed with the way Devat has approached his game in this particular tournament consistently in all the both matches that he's played so far. So I have been impressed. Let's see if he can keep it up. Let's see if he can also add patience to his game, because he's not going to get um, he might get opportunities where the pitch is a little bit more deteriorated as the weeks go on, where it will be a lot more difficult for him to score as freely. So then he needs to go pick up other scoring options. Otherwise, there can be some proper problems. Um, a real bummer that the second warm up match got rained out Feel for Temba, for example, who needed runs in the game time. This will be this will make the selection interesting now. It definitely will. It is a massive pity. It's a shame actually. We really needed that extra warm up game, just to get everybody into the swing of things and to get some cricket under the belt, of course, against a different opponent as well, and an opponent that we most likely will be playing in the group as well. So it's interesting to see what's that this World Cup has been affected by rain so early. I hope that the rest of this tournament doesn't get affected by rain like this. I mean, they picked Australia, hoping probably that this wasn't going to happen, and it just seems that the rain follows cricket everywhere. Khalid, this is why I say let Brevis flourish at domestic cricket first before we unleash him for the protest. I doubt he will have bowled for SA if he was thrown in now. Blood him in. Yes. And I think it's the perfect time for Diva Brevis right now because there are a lot of positions. There's a position opening up very soon in that number 3 spot for him, or potentially as an opener for South Africa. You see, what this has allowed us to do, giving players the opportunity to play domestic cricket, we see different other things that they can do. For example, Vian Mulder, batting at 3 for the Lions, really showed proper quality today of ability to be able to hit the ball with power and precision. Okay, yes, he went out after a good start, but these opportunities, these are opportunities for us to see maybe different roles for players batting in different positions in a different role. We saw Peter Malan being operating as a number 3 and performing excellently for the Rocks, smacking the ball around and playing with real dominance. So these tournaments are so important. We're seeing now David in an opening position in T20 cricket, in senior cricket. That could possibly be an opportunity for him to open the batting in the future for South African T20 cricket. That could be an option. I don't want to rule anything out. Even Jones can be the next all-rounder for South Africa international material, says Abid. There hasn't been enough of Evan for me to from 100% say that he is international material quite yet. I think that we need to see this full tournament where he plays international T20 cricket right now. I've seen him, obviously. I don't want to judge players when they've been playing semi-pro or they've been playing um, school cricket because it's not necessarily a fair um, assessment. So the CSA T20 challenge is going to leave us with a lot of answers, which I'm going to cover on this show. When the CSA T20 challenge ends, we'll have an in-depth look and see all the talents that stood out and put up their hands. ODI cricket suits Brevis even more. He can take his time to settle. And there's definitely, yes, I think ODI cricket, we need to blood him in as well. White ball cricket, I should have said, not T20 cricket only. White ball cricket is where Deovat, I think, can really find a spot for himself in South African cricket. Something, there is vacancies, definitely. The ODI team is struggling. The T20 team is quite experienced. So there's a place opening up there for him. I mean, he's only 19 now. By the time he hits 2021, he'll be perfect. He'll be ready. And he's even ready now, I feel. But I do think that consistency in his game is something that he can learn from this particular tournament. What do you think of Magala's fitness issue? Apparently, the domestic fitness protocol is now on par to what you get with the Proteas. This is also why Mahima doesn't play for the Rocks. And yes, that's the case. My concern here is that whether this was communicated with the players long before the time, because there was plenty of time for the players to get fit leading into this tournament. So it's a bit of a shame because they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot because it's something that you can control ultimately is your fitness. So the fact that they failed in their fitness test is a big shame because they're both very, very, very talented cricketers. So it's a massive shame. And Magala's really looking for international honors. He needs to get his fitness in check because it's not the first time he struggled with this type of thing. This is a consistent thing that he's been struggling with over time. Magala has diabetes as well, so he will face fitness issues as he is a bit overweight as well. Yeah, diabetes. I think that John Smuts also has diabetes, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't want to be saying something that I know for certain. But I think so. Can Magala play in the SA20 league? We don't know if the same protocols are going to be held for the SA20 league. The reason why there's fitness criteria in domestic cricket is because it leads into the Proteas, so they want to maintain a consistency with regards to that from domestic right into Proteas, which I agree with. Guys, watch out for Jordan Herman. I've been saying the guy is the next big thing. Big fan of Jordan Herman. I think he's a quality young cricketer, like Suraj says over here. Also, Matthew Van Buren was good today, but he really needed to kick on. He was very good in the field. Hey Ronis, do you see the SA Cricket Mag's preview of the Proteas T20 World Cup campaign? Some brutal truths were said there. I haven't watched it. Jordan Eman, for me, have been the most impressive batter so far, yet all talk is about Brevis. Um, Khalid Kurika underperformed in 2014, 2016, 2021 T20 World Cup, 2015 and 2019 ODI World Cup, and 2017 Champions Trophy. If he doesn't perform in the World Cup, Proteas should move on from him. That has been a narrative that I've seen around that he hasn't performed well in ICC events. So let's have a look at what happens after this particular event. Perhaps this is the tournament. Used to play with Herman in youth days. This guy started doing technical analysis with his dad from under 11. Literally, his dad used to record every game. That's insane. I'm going to look to try and get him on the show sometime during this T20 challenge to have a discussion with him and understand his game and his mentality. Brevis is only 19 years old and Jordan Herman is 24 years old. Says him, Herman is 21. He just turned 21 this year. Yes. Um, that's what I think as well. I think people are getting mistaken with. Another cricketer that is also um, similar age. I think Herman turns 21 at the end of the year in December, is what I'm seeing on Google. So I don't know who's right here or wrong here. So I don't know. But he is still in his early 20s. Why is every team struggling with playing spin? It's been a problem with South Africa for a very, very long time, Sadiq. It's something our players don't necessarily face a lot in South African domestic cricket, or not on domestic cricket, sorry, in South African school cricket. Makes it very difficult for these players to be able to make the transition so quickly when they're suddenly facing a lot of quality spin in domestic cricket, which we have in South African domestic cricket. There's a lot of quality spin in South African domestic cricket. So that's why it's also a very difficult surface. The ball is spinning a lot. I mean, if Adam Penkiso is getting the amount of degrees of spin that he's getting, then you know there's a lot of spin in this wicket. So it is a tricky wicket to bat on. But if you're patient, then if you're patient, you'll get it right. You'll get runs like you saw. And also, if you're attacking, if you attack smartly, you know, putting pressure back on the bowlers automatically. That's his bro, Ruben Herman, Ruben Herman and Jordan Herman. People get confused between the two. Yes. Khalid, would you play the two all-rounders or the two spinners at the World Cup? It all depends on the conditions because what Hobart's offering at the moment looks like that I would play two spinners and one all-rounder. So it depends on the conditions and maybe playing. I don't think it's as straightforward as picking only one, choosing one or the other. It depends on the conditions 100%. Is that the sharp old school Man United said 2-1 to United, by the way, as a Arsenal fan? No, it's not the old school one. It's the latest one. The Team Viewer one is the latest shirt. And I hope that United can win tonight. Oh my God, I don't want to go to bed depressed tonight. Ruben and Jordan are, of course, he's giving people a proper lesson in the live chat about the Herman brothers. So interesting to see that. But yeah, guys, I think I made some decent points tonight, if I must say so myself. I think that this particular T20 challenge is going to be a test for our players, and it's the right test for our players coming at the right time before the CSA 20 in the middle of a World Cup. It's going to be a lot of talking points happening. The test is for the openers in this tournament, and that is exactly what I want to see. I want to see some openers put up their hands because we are desperate need of some top order batters in South African cricket. So it's good to see that these openers are are getting a difficult time and they're getting difficult conditions. Hopefully, they will learn from this tournament, and it will be for the betterment of them. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. I'll see you again tomorrow with another daily show. Take care, everybody. I know it's only me alone here, so the shows will be a little short if I'm alone over here. So please stay tuned to this channel. Support us as much as you can. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. I'll try to get someone to. I'll be getting Senator Mutasami tomorrow, by the way, on the show. I've asked him. He said yes. Let's see if we can confirm it tomorrow. But so far, we'll get Sunaran Mutasami on the show and get an exclusive interview and learn a little bit more about how he settled at Northwest and also what he's added to his batting game, as we saw in the first match that he played. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Peace out, everybody, and I'll see you very soon.